The Giants' schedule has been released, and the Giants' 2023 schedule release is presented by United Airlines. Bob Papa, along with two-time Super Bowl champion Carl Banks. And Carl, the Giants are going to open up against the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football, but guess what? It's not in Dallas. The Giants actually get a home game against the Cowboys in prime time on a Sunday night for the first time since 2012. Pretty cool way to start the season.
It really is, Bob, and the fan base will come out for this one in full throat because it's the Dallas Cowboys and because they're starting off a new season where they left off a successful one last year.
You know, it's interesting. The Giants are going to have 6 primetime games, counting the Christmas game. So then in week 2, the Giants are going to go to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. Now, that's a team that's in a very much of a rebuilding mode. They made a bunch of trades. Kyler Murray's not probably going to be back at that point in time, coming off that severe injury. And then they have a Thursday night primetime game against the 49ers. So it's going to be a short week, and the Giants are going to have the luxury, I guess, if you're going to play on a short week, to be able to stay where you are and not have to travel back east.
Well, it's important to stay in the same time zone if you're going back-to-back games in one region. So I think that's important. We always, and this is a fun time of year for us and for the fans, Bob, to look at a schedule and say what's a win, what's a loss, and what's going to be a tough game, what's not going to be a tough game. But we know as the season goes on, this schedule as written, it changes based on what's available on your roster, right?
Oh, yeah, it's totally fluid. I mean, but when you look at the first, like if you look at the Giants' first, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, their first 5 games, 3 of them are in prime time. Sunday night at home against the Cowboys, then a Thursday night game against San Francisco. After the Niner game, off that mini bye, the Giants are going to play a Monday night game at home against the Seahawks. And then after a trip to Miami, the Giants will be in Buffalo, where Dable and Shane return to their old stomping grounds to take on the Bills. So the league has given the Giants 4 primetime games in the first 6 weeks.
Well, look, this is their chance to show this Giant team a chance to show everyone that they are ready for prime time. I mean, they went into the playoffs and won a playoff game on the road, and now this is the reward for it. Everybody gets to take a look under your hood early on in prime time.
The bye comes very late in the season. It comes in week 13, and then it's another primetime game, a home Monday night football game against the Green Bay Packers. Who knows what the Packers are going to look like without Aaron Rodgers, and then obviously the Christmas afternoon game in Philadelphia against the Eagles round out the 6 primetime games. It's interesting, Carl, you take a look at this schedule. So often in the past, the Cowboys, Washington, and the Eagles have been packed in the later part of the schedule. But once the Giants get through week 11 of the season, they're out of games with the Cowboys and Washington because they play Washington at home on October the 22nd, and then at Washington on November the 19th. Other than that, it's just 2 Eagles games. It's a little different than we've been used to the last couple of years as far as the Giants are concerned.
Yeah, well, the last couple of years, you basically had to run through the division the last month of the season, and now you have one team to play twice in the division. So it's going to be important that the Giants play well early and late, because in order to stay in contention in the division, you've got to get off to a pretty good start because you got 2/3 of that right in the early part of the schedule before the bye.
Let's talk about that little stretch in there. They got 2 tough road games at Miami, at Buffalo. I think if 2 is healthy, Miami overall may have the most talent within the division. And then Buffalo obviously is a perennial contender. And then after a game against Washington, the Giants will be home to take on the Jets with Aaron Rodgers. So a lot of AFC East feel in those games between October the 8th and October the 29th. But that secondary better be tight because they're going to be dealing with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle with the Dolphins. Pretty darn good. And then Diggs the following week.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they got quite a few wide receivers they got to deal with. If Hopkins stays in Arizona, that's going to be something. You know, the Dallas Cowboys wide receivers, Vegas Raiders, no slouch at wide receiver. They got a perennial Pro Bowler there. So yeah, I mean, this team will be challenged very early, but that'll get them ready, Bob. This is the reward you get for being a playoff team. Now you take the next step. And that's why the Giants are saying, hey, we've added some pieces too. Let's see if our guys hold up.
It's going to be interesting with that Jet game because it's a Giants home game. It's going to be on CBS, and it takes place on October the 29th. You know, Aaron Rodgers will certainly have his feet wet, and, you know, then you take a look at Wilson, the wide receiver, and he won the Rookie of the Year. Sauce Gardner won the Defensive Rookie of the Year on the other side of the ball. So that's going to be a fun matchup at MetLife Stadium when the Giants play the Jets, because it only happens once every 4 years.
Yeah, and you're going to be in that part of the season, about the midway point, Bob, where both teams will be looking at, hey, we're still in contention, and both teams that last year, up until 3 weeks left in the season, both teams were playoff contenders. So this is a statement game for both teams in their own right, just to, you know, stay in contention. And, you know, the Battle of Gotham is real now.
From a football standpoint, as a player, does a 3-game road trip bother you? Is it difficult? I mean, the Giants are going to play November the 5th at the Raiders on Fox.
Mm-hmm.
The next week they go to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. And then the third end of that 3-game road trip is a trip to Washington, which is a train ride down. It's not like you're getting on a plane for that one. That's going to be a tough stretch for the team, going to Vegas, coming home, then going back to Dallas, coming home, and then going on the road one more time.
Yeah, but you look at that stretch, Bob, is you got Arizona 49ers. That's a back-to-back on one coast. And then you got Vegas and Dallas. You fly to Vegas. Do you fly home and go back to Dallas? I mean, it's a long week, but that's still cross-country twice, pretty much. And then you go, the Washington game is a train ride home, but it's a nice little stretch they've got of games away. But that 3-game stretch away, it's the 2 back-to-back that will task the team more so than the Washington being an away game. It's, you know, go to Vegas, come home, go to Dallas, come home, and then get ready. But it is what it is. Every team has to play.
Limited Giants single game tickets are on sale now. You can go to giants.com/tickets. You know what the home schedule is. Obviously, with 17 games, there's one more road game this year. All the NFC teams play their 17th game on the road. And in this case, for the Giants, it's the Raiders as their 17th game. And the reason why it's the Raiders, because the Raiders finished third in their division. The Giants finished third in their division. That's why they're matching up, and it falls suit with the other teams in the NFC East. You know, Philadelphia, they got Philadelphia on Christmas and then Philadelphia at MetLife Stadium to wrap up the season. It looks like the league is hedging their bets that those games could obviously have big significance, division, wild card situation for both of those teams. So there are 2 games within the division with the Eagles. 2 of the last 3 are against Philadelphia, with the Rams at home sandwiched in between that. Look, Philadelphia on paper right now, Carl, when you take a look at them, I think from top to bottom, they're the most talented team in the National Football League with the fewest amount of holes. Now, again, injury changes everything, and who knows what we'll be talking about when we get to the end of the year. But that's a formidable way to end the season.
Oh, it totally is, Bob. And what better way? I mean, look, the Philadelphia Eagles are the gold standard in the NFC. The Giants are aspiring, as with every other team in the division and in the conference, to be in contention with those guys. So you would hope those last 2 games against the Eagles will really mean something. And the Giants are playing for something. And, you know, from a Giant perspective, you hope you're playing for the division.
You know, I was thinking about it too. The Giants play in New Orleans on December the 17th. That building has been a house of horrors. Now, it was with Drew Brees. We've seen some wild shootouts. We've seen some blowout losses.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of different things with that. Now you got Derek Carr in the mix. It's a little bit different vibe, but I think the Saints are a pretty talented football team when you take a look at what they have potentially on paper. So that's going to be a tough little 2-game road trip as well.
Look, everyone in the NFL is talented, Bob. I'm sure there are people that are circling the Giants saying, well, they don't have X, Y, and Z. This will be a win for us. And this is across the league. Everybody looks at this schedule and they're going to say, oh, here's one. This is the softie. This is a softie. But you really got to look. There's a lot of, with all the movement that went on this offseason, there's a lot of really good talent across every NFL roster. Now, we know the establishment teams, right? Because they've done it year after year. The Bills, the 49ers, the Dolphins, those guys, they're a known entity. But there are a lot of unknown entities, including the Giants, that are on people's schedules that you just can't circle and say it's a win or a loss. And then you also have some of the teams like Green Bay that is going through transition. So it's going to be fun. This is the fun part about it. But here's the one thing that fans, I'm sure, are looking at too: travel plans. Where are the best places to go watch Giants football on the road? Miami is definitely one of those destinations. Dallas, they always show up. Vegas, they show up.
Oh, they're going to show up. They're going to show up in Vegas because it's the first time the Giants are playing the Raiders in Vegas. You had a chance to see that new stadium. I think from a fan's fun standpoint, I remember when the Cardinals were in the NFC East and the schedule would come out. You'd always hope that the Cardinals game, the road division game against the Cardinals, was sometime in November or early December because it's cold in New Jersey and you want to go someplace warm. As far as the Miami game is concerned, it's not like it's cold in New Jersey on October the 8th.
Yeah.
So, but that's going to be a fun trip.
You would want that Miami game if you were a traveling fan, probably to fall a little later in the year. And even the players too, because it's going to be hot. They got that strategic thing going with the sun on the opposite player's bench. I've experienced that in the old Dallas Cowboy Stadium, the one that had the hole in the roof.
Irving, Texas, yeah.
The sun would always set on the opponent's bench, so we would have like an hour and a half of just scorching sun, and they would be in the shade.
Yeah, they had it set up, which is kind of opposite with the Giants, where the Giants are always on the sunny side of the field for their home games. The Giants play the Patriots on Fox on November the 26th. That's a home game. The AFC East home games for the Giants are the Jets on October 29th, the Patriots on November the 26th. But, I think one of the things that's important, limited single-game tickets are on sale now. Visit Giants.com/tickets. I'm fired up, Carl. 4 primetime games in the first 6 weeks. They got a Sunday night game, a Thursday night game, a Monday night game, and then another Sunday night game against Buffalo, all within the first 6 weeks of the season. It's going to be a lot of fun. Carl, great chatting with you about it.
You too, buddy. I'm looking forward to getting in that booth and having some fun. It's going to be an exciting year.
And Giants fans are going to start booking their tickets. Hey, listen, New Orleans is a great city. Late in the year, that is an awesome place to be for a short weekend. There's a great vibe, great restaurants. So a lot of great road trips. And obviously, I'm sure Giants fans are going to be flocking to Las Vegas as the Giants play there for the first time. And United Airlines will help get you there. The Giants 2023 schedule release has been presented by United Airlines.
Today is Monday, August 28th. Today we go over the Giants schedule. Week 1, Cowboys, Dak Prescott and Daniel Jones at the line position, Torrey Smith and Andrew Thomas. Week 3, 49ers, tight end George Kittle, and second best tight end in the game behind Travis Kelce in my mind. 49ers traded with the Cowboys for a 4th round pick and a 3rd overall pick. Quarterback Brock Purdy and Daniel Jones will be the starters. Week 4 Seahawks starting quarterback will be Geno Smith, at one-time Giant, and Daniel Jones at the tackle position, Charlie Cross and Andrew Thomas. Week 5 Dolphins Quarterback Daniel Jones and Tua Tagovailoa were a year apart. Andre Jackson and Xavier Howard. Jackson was at one time a first-round pick by the Titans. Howard is one of the best players in the game. Bills, both Pro Bowlers, Josh Allen and Daniel Jones. Isaiah Simmons at the linebacker position and Matt McMullen at the linebacker position. He is 69th overall. For week 8, Jets, Bills, it will most likely be the team talking about the New York Jets all the time in New York right now. Aaron Rodgers and Daniel Jones. It'll be Quentin Williams for the Jets and Giants, Dexter Lawrence. Week 9 at the Raiders, Max Crosby is a man who picked for DN, and Leonard Williams is a man who picked for DN for the Giants. Ascending players. At the quarterback position, Jimmy Garoppolo for the Raiders and Daniel Jones for the Giants. Week 10 referred to Week 1 for the Cowboys. Week 11, Washington Commanders. It will mainly be Sam Howell versus Geno Smith. And it'll be Sam Howell and Daniel Jones. Also add Dwayne Pryor and Dexter Lawrence from the defensive tackle sides. The New England Patriots will play Week 12. Mac Jones, and for the Giants will be Daniel Jones. And the running back division, Raheem Morris and Saquon Barkley, both the best backs in the league. Barkley was out for some of the camp, and then they got a deal done with him for $12 million. Week 13 bye. Week 14 Packers. We do Isaiah Smith for the Giants and linebacker Quincy Waller, 8th best player in the Packers. Saints, Alvin Kamara and Saquon Barkley, both of the best matchup in the league, one of the best running backs in the league. Saquon, a running back, and then for the quarterback will be quarterback Daniel Jones and quarterback David Carr for the Saints. Week 16 at Eagles. Eagles, Jalen Hurts, MVP runner-up last year, and left tackle Andrew Thomas and number 60 Jordan Mills at the tackle positions. Rams, let's do Dexter Lawrence and Aaron Donald, 2 of the best players on their team. Also, the best players on their team. Also, Rams will have Baker Mayfield, and the Giants will, of course, have Daniel Jones. Week 18 refer to Week 16, which is the Eagles. Review on the schedule. Chris Jones has still not shown up. People have recommended $30 million. Review schedule. Dallas Cowboys Week 1 at 8:20. Week 2, September 17th, 4:05 at Arizona Cardinals. Week 3, September 21st at San Francisco, 8:15. Seattle Seahawks Week 4 Monday, October 2nd, 8:15. Week 5, Sunday at Dolphins, 1 o'clock. Week 6 at Bills, 8:20. Week 7, Washington Commanders to host Giants, 1 p.m. Week 8, New York Giants host 1 p.m. So virtually on the same field though. 4:25 at Raiders, November 5th. November 12th at Cowboys, 4:25. Week 11, Sunday, December 19th, 1 o'clock at Washington Football Team Commanders. Week 12, 1 o'clock New England Patriots. Week 13 bye. Week 14, December 11th, 8:15, Monday night. Week 15, 1 o'clock at Saints. Week 16, Christmas Day, 4:30. And at Week 17, 31, New Year's Day, 1 o'clock. And Week 18, Philadelphia Eagles, TBD. Tomorrow we will do NFL prediction and mental health, learning disability an 80 course catch over 1 week, as we have a lot to catch up to do on sports. This is Sam Vaughn for Sam's Sports Report.